Hey guys, welcome back. This is another tutorial that I'm going to be doing on making a four-piece artwork, or anything you can call it. So in this tutorial, this is a very short Photoshop tutorial, and I'm going to be using this image. I'm going to go here and I import an image. Now this is a very simple image. I got it off of Google. You can go to Pixels and you'll get that. So I'm going to be using a document of 2000 by 2000 pixels, and what I'm simply going to do now is so when you have your document here, the first thing you're going to do, in most cases, you may want to, for example, prepare your image. If you want to, maybe let's say, change the contrast of the image, or like those are the first preparation. So you can go, like, for example, you go to curves, the curves adjustment layer, right? And you just balance out, maybe if you want to like add a little bit of contrast. Okay, so you add a midpoint here, and then just push up the highlights a little, and then bring the shadows down a little. Maybe you can have contrast. If you don't want, you can leave it. Okay, and let's imagine now you have your image there like this. Okay, I'm just going to merge the two layers just to make it one simple image. Now we have, and now I'm going to bring this image into this document here. That's just a drag. So you just drag and then you drop into this file. Now we may want to resize the image, so you're going to position the image in the position where you want to finally see it. So Ctrl T on your keyboard, and I suggest you bring in a larger image, because if you bring in a smaller image, you're going to have problems once you scale it up, because it may get blurry. So bring in a larger image, or an image with a very strong resolution, so that you don't face issues when you are when you finish, let's say when you are expanding it or adjusting it. So for now, let's first leave that at that. Let's first turn off the layer. Now we're going to work with, you can either use the pen tool, or you can straight away use these tools here that already give you shapes that have already been created. For the sake of time, I'm going to use this rectangular tool, and once you're using the rectangular tool, or even if you're using the pen tool, if you're using the pen tool, make sure that here you have shape selected and not path. If you select path, it won't work. Select your shape here. So, but now I'm going to use this. So the principle is the same. It's just I'm just working out of just to save time. Okay, so here I'm going to click shift. Without clicking shift, I'm going to drag a certain rectangle. Okay, so let's imagine that this is a rectangle I have now. It has a stroke with a gradient. Just go here if you want to change the stroke, and just change it to black. So we now have a rectangle with a black stroke. Or if you don't want a stroke, you can remove the stroke as well and make it with a gradient. But anyway, we shall need a gradient, so don't worry. Now, with that having been done, we now want to duplicate. We're going to duplicate this layer, and let's just fill it with a black stroke for now. It becomes easier in selecting it. So to duplicate, you can just press Ctrl J, or you can get this tool here, the selection tool up here, and you press Alt on your keyboard. It will bring those two arrows, the white one and the black one, and then just drag, so it will make a copy. So if you want it to drag along the same axis, make sure as you press Alt, you also press shift so that you won't be able to move it up and down. You'll be able to move it only in the direction that it's already moving. So here we can move it like this. Okay, let's say to there, and then release, and then now we're going to move it down a little. Again, when you're moving it down, just click and drag down, and if you want to retain the angle, just click again shift so that it just moves just like that. All right, so here we're going to make that. Let's see how our image, okay, our image comes out like this. Now the next part, so when you have the design that you want, let me imagine this is the design that we have now. We are going to work with again, we're going to do what we call duplicating. We're going to duplicate this image here. So just holding down Alt on your keyboard while hovering over the mouse there, just click to put one image above each of the rectangles that you've made. So while holding down Alt, I've positioned all those images above the rectangle. And the next part is just clicking Alt on your keyboard, Alt or Option on a Mac, Alt on PC, and it will bring over that arrow there and just clip it over like that. All right, so then again, so this is clipped onto this, so this is going to be clipped onto this, and then this is going to be, this image is going to be clipped onto that layer, and then this image is going to be clipped onto this layer, and this image is going to be clipped onto this layer. Now as you can see, nothing is happening because this layer here is open. So when we close it now, you'll see that you have your image here, right? But now the problem we're having is okay, this could be good, but we're going to do some changes. First, we're going to kind of add, like, it's kind of like to make it feel as if it's floating. All these images are floating. What we're going to do is we're going to duplicate these shapes that we made. So each shape, you go and duplicate it once. Ctrl J on your keyboard, it duplicates it once. Now the layer that is below, all right, it's colored black, all right. So you just, for example, here, this layer here, this is the layer, okay. Bring it down a little bit. We can just nudge it down like this and to the side twice, just slightly, all right. So you'll see back there, if you look closely, maybe when I press F, you'll see up back there that there is some sort of black, like as if it's behind, okay. And now I'm going to do the same thing for these other layers. So again, this one is J, Ctrl J, and nudge it down. When you're done nudging, you can actually select those layers again and go over to filter and Gaussian blur. Now when you go to blur, Gaussian blur, it's going to ask you, do you want to convert this layer to do you want to rasterize this layer? So you just click yes and it will be rasterized and your blur will take effect like that. Okay, and again, if you find that the blur is too much, you can just decrease the opacity, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to do this for all these layers here that I'm having. Okay, so as you can see now, they look to be, for example, these two layers seem to be like they're off the screen. Pardon me if you hear funny noises because this place is extremely noisy. Anyway, now we have our image here. We can kind of decrease the if you want to see it very clearly, we can now delete this layer because we don't need it. And now once you're here, you can change the color of this if you want. You can give it maybe a solid color adjustment layer, whichever color you want. So I've just used orange for the sake, okay, so to just visual consistency, that's all. But now here we have our images, and they're pretty good, okay. So I want you to try this, try it out on your own as well. Try and figure out various shapes. Maybe for your case you can use the pen tool to create your shapes. Right, so this is all I had for today, and please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel for more videos to come on design and illustrations. I'm working on very important stuff now. They're soon to come out, so don't worry. I wish you a great day.